You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. Thank you for joining me today, giving me just a little slice of your day. You know that I appreciate you. It is the Friday of Mother's Day weekend. It is also the Friday of the Kentucky Derby, which, if you have not noticed, has been somewhat absent from this show. I honestly don't know what to say about the Kentucky Derby. It's not a sporting event that I strongly partake in. I understand the importance of it. I do. You understand? Like, it's historically one of the great American sporting events. Like, you go down the list of great American sporting events, that opening tip of March Madness, the Super Bowl, the Daytona 500, Kentucky Derby. It's on that list. Okay? The World Series. Okay, the great American sporting events, it's on the list. I understand that it's important. I did have a good time with the horse people last year. I did my fair share of mocking American Pharaoh. Did not deserve to be Sports Person of the Year. I'm sorry. It's a horse, not a person. A horse can be an athlete too. Just can't be Sports Person of the Year. All right. So we have that. I understand. So we'll talk some Kentucky Derby, a slight amount, because I think it is worth talking about. I think it is great to watch. I wonder if we haven't lost some of the shine of the Kentucky Derby now that the Triple Crown has been won, right? Like, do we have to wait another 35, 45 years before it becomes a story that you've got to watch the Kentucky Derby and then watch the other two races, obviously, so we can get a Triple Crown winner? It's obviously a difficult thing to do. That's why it took so long to accomplish in the first place. So winning the Triple Crown, has that taken away from some of the luster of the Derby? I would think so, right? Because that's why I always knew Derby time was rolling around. Otherwise, I wouldn't know. Like, we start talking about, okay, who's the horse that can win the Triple Crown? Like, some of the names of these horses I'm not even familiar with. I don't know. Where previously I knew who American Pharaoh was, and in previous years, Mind That Bird and all those other horses. Like, I knew who they were because we're starting to talk about which horses have the best odds to win the Triple Crown. Like, nobody's talking about it this year, so it really isn't flying largely across my radar. It's an important race, but man, I'm telling you, and I know I'm not alone on this. I can't be alone on this. I know some of you out there are like, yeah, the Kentucky Derby, it's great. I'm not watching it, but it's great. That's all I'm saying. The platforms. How can you reach us, and how can we reach you? This is Hot News Talk Radio, proving once and for all that radio is not just a one-way street. We communicate and interact. We've got a Facebook page, a Twitter page, and a YouTube page. You can check us out on all of those avenues and more. We also stream all of our shows 24/7, 365 on hotnewstalkradio.com, where you can also access the social media I mentioned previously, and you can stream Hot News Talk Radio straight from there. You can also stream us on Facebook. Go to the Hot News Talk Radio Facebook page and click on the little radio icon. Stream you some sports talk here on Clutch with Keon Rose from 6 to 7, Monday through Friday. That's how often we get together to do this thing, and I'm glad you've taken the time to join me today. We're talking about the Kentucky Derby a little bit, but I want to get into a conversation about young people and entitlement, because it's been a real large topic in the sporting media. Anytime you talk about young draftees, anytime you talk about draft picks, anytime you talk about college recruiting, you can't have that conversation without also having a conversation about who is entitled and who is not entitled, right? That's part of that whole conversation. And so we had from Texas A&M a couple of recruits say goodbye to old Aggie land because of something that a coach tweeted. All right. And the backlash from that has a lot to do with what it is that coaches feel, and also people in the media who are usually typically older than I am. I'm 26 years old. Many folks in the media are older than I am. And the prevailing belief is that if a tweet from a coach can get you to decommit from a school, you weren't tough enough to play there anyway. Okay? And this ties in also to another story about a recruit at Ohio State who was walking on campus, and Urban Meyer, the head coach, did not recognize him at all. And he was offended by that and decommitted from Ohio State. Rescinded his commitment to that school. And so we get all of these stories about how the young people don't understand loyalty, and back in my day, people were tougher. And I hesitate to mock people who came before me who hold those opinions, because that's not right. Right? Like you can't just be there standing here. You're my age, you're around my age. Because young people listen to sports radio too. And just be in your 20s going, yeah, those old timers just need to shut it. Because one day you're going to be old, holding some beliefs, and you're going to look back, and the young people of whatever time it is that you are an older person, they're going to annoy you. Younger people than me annoy me now. All right? 16, 15, 14 years old. I look at the shows that they watch, the way that they just are always on their phone. It annoys me now. I can't wait till I'm 50. I will hate everything. That is how that is going to go. Young people young, I'm 26. People younger than me annoy me now. I can't wait. I can't wait till there's more 15, 16, and 17 years old, and I'm 50. There isn't a thing on this earth I will enjoy. That's where we're trending. Okay? So I can't hold it against people older than me who think that my generation is entitled. They think that we're soft. They think that we're weak. And in a lot of ways, I can't say that they're wrong. But people are a product of their environment, okay? The same way we all have or are aware of that one like racist old dude that just holds on to his old racist opinions. You can't hold that too hard against him. He grew up at a time when that was okay. When those opinions were completely validated and legitimized over and over and over again. You can't hold it against that guy. You also can't hold it against the kid who takes everything on the internet seriously because he grew up on the internet, taking your tweet seriously. Okay, there is a language barrier there. We're not speaking the same language. And it's a generational language barrier. My generation holds things that are said online in greater esteem than the generation before us because they didn't grow up online, which is fine. It's not wrong to not be a child of the internet, okay? In fact, a lot of ways in practical application that makes your life better, right? We could probably stand to give up the cell phones and the computers. We won't, but we could probably stand to. But like for instance, I've made fun of, I mentioned before, the horse people. The horse people were getting at me on Twitter last year because I was saying American Pharaoh is a horse and doesn't deserve to be Sports Illustrated Sports Person of the Year. Well, the horse people were offended by that. The horse people were not huge fans of that particular thing and said things to me on Twitter that were not very nice. That later got deleted. The horse people said some things. Okay? There are some things that showed up in my Twitter inbox. I will not repeat on the air. They're not nice things that the horse people said to me. But I don't take it that personally. They're random dudes online. Okay? You're my family. You're my girlfriend. You're my close friends. I take what you say seriously. You can offend me. What you say can actually hurt me if you're close. Your person online can't hurt me. Okay? You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose, and we're just talking about this this whole complicated situation with the players who decommitted from Texas A&M because Aaron Moorhead, one of the assistant coaches, basically called out a player on Twitter. He says he didn't, but it was a misunderstanding because one player decommitted, and then he said on Twitter, "I feel sorry for people who never understand loyalty. I can't really even vibe with you. At the end of the day, trust is, and there's an emoji there that I'm missing, and everything else is BS." Right? That's what the coach said. So then a player decommitted, and when that player decommitted, he then said on Twitter, "I wasn't even talking about who everyone thinks I'm talking about. I didn't even know." But then he says in the hashtags, he's basically rescinding the apology. Hashtag bad timing, hashtag relevant though, hashtag still no loyalty. So he's not sorry for what he said. Then he said, "Lots of tough typers tonight. Hashtag sounds good." So you've got a coach that's basically calling out a player, and another player decommitted, and he said, "After tonight, I see what kind of person my quote future quote coach end quote is, and I myself don't want to play for someone like that. So without further ado, I would like to announce that I am decommitting from Texas A&M." Okay, and then another player said, "I would like to thank you at Texas A&M and fans, but due to some tweets subtweeted towards my brother, I will no longer be looking at A&M." That's Tyjon Lindsey. He's gone. All right, just not going. And oh boy, there's some bad jokes there, but it's harsh. But the things that you say online will get to these younger players. They will get to these recruits. You can't just say stuff on social media, and you have to be aware that that's the language that they speak and learn to adjust. Okay? Because they have the power to decommit. Why wouldn't they? Why would you treat that person like they don't have any power? Okay? Once you show up, if a coach is yelling at you or whatever, I mean, at that point, I don't think that you can really quit. I mean, I suppose you can. You can always transfer out, sit out the year. Life's hard, okay? And this is what the older generation is saying. Life is hard. If you can't handle a tweet, what can you handle? And I get that. That's not an invalid way of thinking. If you can't take just a tweet, what can you take? To which I counter, that kid can take a lot. Okay? What ends up happening there with that kid is that they're a kid. Really? You weren't sensitive as a 15, 16-year-old? You just were of high school age, a fully developed, fully mature, grown man, could handle criticism well, knew what to do with it, knew how to handle your emotions. You just knew. Because I'm telling you, I didn't. Okay? Kids are not very bright. Not because they're going to be dumb forever, but because you're not done maturing yet. You're still growing. Your brain still grows until you're 25. Especially if you're a male. Your brain continues growing until you're 25. So you're telling me this kid at 17 should figure it out? Should just know how to fully handle criticism and just, with the maturity of 10 men, walk off? Just deal with it? Because I don't think that that's a fair expectation. When I was in high school, me and my friends played car tag, which is the game of tag, in our cars. I'm shocked we didn't get into an accident and destroy more property. Like, I'm actually surprised. It was the least intelligent thing I have ever participated in. I was 17 years old. You're just not fully developed. Your sense of maturity, your sense of what should hurt and what shouldn't hurt is not fully developed yet. How to handle all of that? For Christ's sakes, I still don't know how to handle all of that. Right? Someone says something hurtful to me, I'm lashing out. Try me. And I'm not proud of it, but that's part of growing up. You can't sit there from your throne at the age of 45 looking down on a 17-year-old telling him he needs to be tougher. That's unfair because you weren't. Most of you weren't. I know I wasn't. Okay, I've got two younger brothers. I know my middle brother, he's 2 years younger than me, Kerwin, who joins us for basketball talk at times, and my youngest brother, Katie's at that age now. They're smart guys. You're going to make stupid decisions at 17. Okay, you're not going to always know how to handle everything at 17. So you can decommit from a school. You have that ability if you feel like that's not the place for you. And a coach that doesn't understand your language, the language of the internet, the language of criticizing others on social media, that is not just something you tweet to the world blindly. When you say something that sounds passive-aggressive to one of your players, don't just tell him that he hashtag still no loyalty, though. Find that young man and let him know. What are you doing? You're the adult in this equation. Act like it. Like, I just don't understand this. Like, we're just coming down on the 17-year-olds, the 16-year-olds, like they're supposed to fully know how to be men. Yeah, toughing it out through criticism, that is something that men do. Not letting comments made by your boss, by your quote-unquote employer. I don't want to say employer because they're not getting paid, but the person who's supposed to be in charge of you and mentor you, not letting that get to you, that is something that men learn how to do. But at 17, you're a boy, okay? You don't know. And it is ridiculous to suggest otherwise, okay? And especially the young man at Ohio State that Urban Meyer didn't recognize him and he decommitted. And people are like, life is going to get a whole lot tougher than that. Well, yeah, obviously. Thank you, Sherlock Holmes. You've solved the case. Yeah, life is going to get a whole lot more difficult. However, think about what it is that these college recruits go through. You are a top athlete. You're a 4-star. You're a 5-star. Every day you open your mailbox, you've just got letters pouring in from this school and that school telling you they'd love to have you. They'd love to have you. Coming to your house every night is Nick Saban and Urban Meyer and Jim Harbaugh and Hugh Freeze. And all of these guys are telling you, we'd love to have you at our school. We'd love to have you at our school. We care deeply about you. We think you're amazing. We think you're great. Then you show up at the school and the man that told you, we think you're amazing, we think you're great, literally does not recognize you from Adam. Would not know you apart from me. You're not supposed to feel something there? Yeah, sure. You could complexly understand the point of view of the head coach, right? He sees 300, sometimes 400 kids in a given year trying to recruit them, and then maybe only some of them show up. And maybe that kid should understand this, except he's 16, 17 years old. He probably met you when he was, 15, 16? Yeah, he's supposed to understand the complexity of that situation, just naturally. Except that he can't, because he's a kid. Right? We get fooled by some of these mature guys. Like the mature guys, props to them for understanding life at an earlier age, but that's not everybody. Not saying be ashamed of understanding how to deal with this stuff, because like you're ahead of the curve if you can. Nor am I giving you a free pass for not understanding, but you're still growing and still developing as a person. And if only somebody could reach out to this guy and let him know, hey, I just didn't see you. That's okay. That's not coddling. That's not babying. Okay, that's the honest truth. If I thought somebody legitimately cared about me, and then the next time I see them, they don't recognize me and walk right past, yeah, I'm going to feel betrayed. This is not rocket science. This is just an absolute fact. You're going to feel a little hurt. This person came into your house. They sat in front of your dad and your mama and told them, we're going to take good care of your boy. And then they told you, you're great. We care about you. And then the next time you see that person, they don't recognize you from Adam. Yeah, you feel real cared about then, but you don't. And we're putting it at the feet of these kids and not the adults in the equation. We're just going to come down on the younger generation and say, look, they don't know how to be men. They don't know how to grow up. They don't know this, that, and the other thing, but they have to learn, and somebody's got to teach them. And if you're going to crush them every time they make a mistake, it ain't going to be you. You're listening to AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. We're going to talk about the Kentucky Derby. We talked a little bit about Ted Cruz yesterday, and I have come back with a list. People in sports that are disliked by their own. You're listening to Clutch with Keon Rose.
I'm blowing everything up. We're starting over. I'm doing a new show. I want guys who push it to the middle of the table and go over the top. Take a risk, fail miserably. I'm right, and I'm not wrong, and I'll never back down. Conflict works. Allow it.
It's The Herd with Colin Cowherd. Right here and everywhere. Noon Eastern.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds. We'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240. Finding just the right place to live can be a daunting task. Stop your search. In Chattanooga, the place to live is Cross Creek Villas for under $1,000 and available for immediate move-in. You can enjoy this 2-bedroom split layout, over 1,000 square feet, 9-foot ceilings, an extra-large patio or balcony. And don't forget to ask about their preferred employer program. Cross Creek Villas is a gated community, offering a 24-hour fitness facility, a beautiful pool and hot tub, and Cross Creek Villas is pet-friendly. Stroll the pet park with your best friend and enjoy the free use of their business center and clubhouse. Plus, if you mention you heard this on the radio, your application fee is free. Cross Creek Villas, close to downtown off of Highway 58. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com. That's crosscreekchattanooga.com or call 894-0446. That's 894-0446. Redefine the way you live at Cross Creek Villas. Go to crosscreekchattanooga.com or call 894-0446. Cross Creek Villas.
Just imagine not a cloud in the sky. It's the perfect day on the water. You could be enjoying boating with friends or wetting your line to catch a fish. Or maybe it's just you and that special someone on a sunset cruise. All of this without the hassle of owning a boat with your membership in the Carefree Boat Club. As you relax and spend time with the ones you care about, you have the peace of mind of knowing you're a member of the Carefree Boat Club. Weekends were made for relaxing and being hassle-free, just like the Carefree Boat Club. Let us take the worry out of boat ownership. No matter if you enjoy fishing, skiing, cruising the lake, or maybe even an overnight adventure, we have a boat for you at the Carefree Boat Club. Start making memories today. Call 423-619-7156 to join. Boating season is here, so do not wait. Call now, 423-619-7156. Carefree Boat Club is located at the Harbor Lights Marina, 9718 Hickson Pike.
Poof! Just like a magician, Les's Pawn Shop can turn the stuff that's just lying around in your house and garage into cold, hard cash. Les's Pawn Shop on Highway 58 in Chattanooga will buy, sell, and scrap anything of value. Hey, and get this. If you're looking for anything from guns and jewelry to guitars and tools, you'll find it at Les's Pawn Shop. Quality pre-owned items. Les's Pawn Shop on Highway 58 in Chattanooga also buys gold and silver at top prices. And if they don't have it, they can order it for you. Les's Pawn Shop, Highway 58 in Chattanooga, where you'll get top dollar for your stuff. And you'll be surprised at the wide variety of our unique items. So the next time you're looking to buy, sell, trade, or scrap anything, from jewelry to coins and currency, guns and ammo, music and tools, stop by Les's Pawn Shop, 4742 Highway 58, Chattanooga. Call 702-5868. That's 702-5868. LesPawnShop.com. That's Les with one S, pawnshop.com. Poof! Just like a magician, Les's Pawn Shop can turn the stuff that's just lying around in your house and garage into cold, hard cash.
Expect clear skies to continue through the nighttime, cool again overnight, lows into the upper 40s. The weekend, though, looking good. Lots of sunshine, a big warm-up in store. Highs Saturday, 80 to 82. And for Mother's Day, mostly sunny, highs back into the mid-80s. Rick Pino, Heart Cry Worship, Chris Brooks, Luke Holter, and more will be at Clyde Chattanooga, a student conference at Abba's House in Hickson, July 14th through the 16th. Early bird registration ends June 12th. More at CollideChattanooga.com. And I source Sheen 12 Chief Meteorologist Patrick Moore.
On AM 1240, Hot News Talk Radio.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240.
AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio with your Hot News Now update. An Amber Alert has been issued by the TBI for a missing child out of Rogersville. 9-year-old Carly Marie Trent was apparently taken from her school by her uncle who does not have custody over her. She's 4 foot 8 inches tall, weighs 75 pounds with blonde hair and blue eyes. The uncle who took her is a 57-year-old white male, 5 foot 10 inches tall, weighing 157 pounds, balding with brown hair and brown eyes, wearing a brown cap, a dark-colored shirt, and jeans. If you see a white 2002 Dodge conversion van with Tennessee registration 173 GPS, call the TBI at 1-800-TBI-FIND. The Hamilton County Sheriff is warning residents of Ottawa and East Brainerd to lock their car doors. A rash of burglaries occurred last night. A suspect took weapons, cash, a computer, and a dark blue 2009 Nissan Murano. The suspects were caught on camera by surveillance, and they were installed at some of the victims' homes. So remember to lock your doors. If it's going on in the Tennessee Valley, it's going on Hot News Talk Radio.
Hot News Talk 1240.
Social media is a great way to promote yourself, to promote your business. It's a great tool of promotion. It's a great tool for expression, right? That whole story that swept the nation about Tony X, who is a young man that watched hockey for the first time. He just stumbled upon a hockey game, okay? And black guy that stumbled upon a hockey game, which is only relevant because he mentions in his tweet that, you know, one of his tweets said, bruh, white people been hiding hockey from us. It's a great game. and he had some funny tweets about the game, like from an outsider's perspective that he didn't know. He's from St. Louis. He was watching the St. Louis Blues play hockey, never watched a game before, and realized, like, this is really fun, which is, I'd love to talk Nashville Predators, by the way, with you all, but don't nobody want to talk hockey. But I digress. Tony X stumbled upon hockey and he started tweeting about it. And the St. Louis Blues reached out to Tony X and invited him to go watch the Blues. And you know, they put some of his quotes on the big Jumbotron. And I bet that was a fun experience for him. It was a great tool of expression, right? That's a time that social media did something and the ending of that story was good. Because overwhelmingly, most social media stories end poorly. If it's a story in the news, it's ending bad. And I understand that there's a little bit of a bias there, that the news tends to report on things which are bad because those are the things which we care about most. Okay, if there's a shooting, if there's an explosion, if there's a natural disaster, those things are bad. But we want to know, how many did we lose? Is my family safe? You want to know if a celebrity does something dumb. It's kind of funny. And celebrities are the people who live these lives that are sort of the best of us. And when they fall in it, we feel some kind of joy in the best being able to collapse. So we don't feel as bad when we collapse. So there is this kind of catharsis to bad things being reported in the news. But I think bad things get reported when it comes to people's reactions on social media because the reactions on social media immediately, without the traditional media getting involved in reporting, social media already tries to police itself. And when that reaction is strong enough, it draws eyes, it draws attention, and therefore is easy to report. So we have social media stories that just never really end well. Like the overwhelming majority of them don't. So you have to realize when you're on social media, be careful. Be careful. Okay? You can't just say whatever you want. You can't just do whatever you want. Not without repercussion. It's America. You can choose to say what you want, but understand that there are consequences to the things you say. A person is also free to not hire you because you've said whatever you want. You've got to be careful. Okay? What this leads back to is when people say things on social media, they reflect others, right? They reflect other people. You reflect everybody else. And it's not something that you're conscious of every second that you're on social media, but I think you should be. Okay? If you're going to be on Facebook and you've got a thought on those transgender people, maybe keep it to yourself. And not even because you're necessarily wrong. I'm not here to judge your ideas and your opinions. But if you think that's going to cause a firestorm, and causing firestorms aren't something that you don't already enjoy doing, because, I mean, if you already enjoy doing it, then I imagine you're not clueless as to what's going to happen next. If a firestorm is not something you want coming to your Facebook, Twitter doorstep, your Instagram doorstep, you might want to keep it to yourself. But not so for former Michigan State quarterback Connor Cook, whose father, Chris Cook, cannot stop saying things on social media. Like, the man has got to follow the previous advice. Sure, you may have a point, sir. Keep it to yourself. Like, some of this, and it's a fairly obvious test, right? If I have an opinion that could possibly be divisive, like, if you think about it, you know what those opinions are. If you're somebody who is opposed to illegal immigration, then you've got to be careful how you word that. You don't have to be careful how you word that, but understand that then there's ramifications to how you choose to word that. You should word that better. If you are a person who has an opinion on traditional marriage, or the size and the frequency with which government interferes on things, you might want to check how you word that. For instance, our news director, Russell, does a really great job of talking about government interference in a way that is intelligent and nuanced without sounding divisive and cruel. Did have a little fun with Bernie supporters, but you know what I mean. Like, everybody does. There's a way that you can word that, but you need to take the time to find it. And because you were sitting in front of a keyboard and nobody is making you type these things quickly without thinking, take the time to find it, please. So Connor Cook's father, Chris Cook, because Connor Cook was projected to be in the early rounds of the NFL draft, and he did fall in the draft. And gee, we wonder why. Connor Cook had some incidents that caused him to fall in the draft, right? Connor Cook didn't play particularly well on the field at times, but he was a good quarterback. I mean, people thought he was every good as what Kirk Cousins was up there in Michigan State. But Kirk Cousins was a captain every year that he was a starter. Connor Cook was not. Why would your teammates vote you to not be a captain as the person who commands the offense? And then there's the Chris Cook incidents. Connor Cook's father on social media just reflecting poorly on him. Okay, in the same way that you or I could reflect poorly on our families and friends if we aren't careful. But Connor Cook's father is tweeting at Rachel Maddow, who is MSNBC's analyst. MSNBC is so liberal and left-leaning, it hurts. And they don't hide it. Okay, Fox doesn't hide how right they are. MSNBC doesn't have to hide how left they are. I don't have a problem with it. You don't like it, don't watch it. It's not for you. Okay? You're a parent and you're listening to Ariana Grande or Justin Bieber or whomever, and you're like, what are the kids hearing in this? How is this music? It's not for you. It was never designed for you, and that's why you don't get it. It's not designed for me either. I don't get it. Miley Cyrus, the lot of them. I don't understand them. Taylor Swift, don't get it. Like, I see that she's talented, but I don't understand what's happening. Like, why is this the best thing ever? Not designed for you. Just let it go. MSNBC, left-leaning, you're libertarian, you're a Republican, maybe not for you. Maybe avoid that one. But Mr. Cook here, Mr. Chris Cook, couldn't help himself. He tweeted at Rachel Maddow, how are those ratings doing? Let's see. Should I pick a homely liberal bleep to watch tonight, or a beautiful heterosexual conservative. And I don't understand the purpose of that tweet. Why would you put that out in the world as a thing that you think? Really, the world needs to know how unprogressive and backwards you are? Do they have to? Like, every one of your opinions does not need to be aired out in the world. Keep some stuff to yourself. It's okay. Like your small circle of friends and your family. We don't need you to tweet all of that. Okay? He then tweets some things. There's a reporter whose name is not your traditional American name. I believe the reporter is Indian, but don't quote me on that one. But either way, he sees the tweet and tweets at this person basically that foreigners shouldn't have a voice and foreigners shouldn't be reporting things. So there's that from xenophobia land. And then he tweeted at Senator Harry Reid that he's an idiot when he was talking about Mitch McConnell. Just you're an idiot. So thank you for adding to that conversation. And it's just reflecting poorly on Connor Cook. Okay, there's one tweet where he tweets at somebody. That there was a player that had a hit that looked like a cheap shot on his son Connor Cook in one of the games, and he tweeted, "Keep your faith in God, you little cheap shot SOB. You're lucky I don't get on that field after that hit." Okay, why are you tweeting? You're not in the game. Okay, Connor Cook's father is one of those parents at a little league game that's yelling at every umpire. He's swearing at every parent around him that's not on the same team as his kid, and he's just unpleasant to be around. That's Connor Cook's dad. Like, you cannot make this stuff up. The man is just tweeting and making everything look bad. And of course, he had an opinion on the Curt Schilling story, which we didn't really get into. Curt Schilling, of course, removed and relieved of his duties at ESPN after sharing his thoughts on transgenders and whether or not they should use transgender bathrooms, which again is talk that maybe you don't have to engage in on social media if you're Curt Schilling, because I don't know, the company that owns the company you work for is Disney, and maybe they don't want their employees weighing in on transgender issues in a way that seems intolerant and small-minded. Okay? Like, it's not that he disagreed with transgenders having their own bathroom. It's how he chose to word that. And you can argue whether or not it's fair that ESPN removed him, but, you know, they're not obligated to keep him hired on. Stuff that you say in your own personal time could still have you removed from your job. That happens. That happens to regular people all the time. Okay? There was a woman who made an AIDS joke flying on her way to Africa. When she landed in Africa, the entire internet thought that her AIDS joke was inappropriate. Word got back to her bosses, and she was fired before the wheels hit the tarmac. You can be fired for stuff that you say away from your job. Of course you can. That happens to everybody. And your son can be dropping in the draft because of things his father tweets. You got to be careful on this social media, man. It's a new world that we live in. Social media is highly important in it, and you can't just say whatever you want. You might want to, but then you'll find a very tactful and nuanced way to word that then. Like, if it's that important for you to say, then it should take you longer than 10 seconds to just say it. Okay, figure this out. And I'm not saying that any of you do this, but if you do, okay, be careful. I'm not trying to see people get fired. That's no fun. You're listening to AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, Clutch with Keon Rose. Did the Ted Cruz conversation yesterday because it was fun. And I think what ended up happening, I ruined the bit. I ruined it a lot because I did a whole setup on Ted Cruz, a gigantic setup on why it is that Ted Cruz is kind of a jerk and why it is the Republican establishment doesn't like him. Of course, the Republican establishment doesn't like Donald Trump either for a litany of completely different reasons, actually. The establishment was caught between the proverbial rock and hard place, and they couldn't figure out what to do there. And so they kind of hate all of their options. Like Paul Ryan meeting with Donald Trump to hash out their differences. Paul Ryan doesn't know if he wants to support Donald Trump. You need to put together some kind of united front here. The Republicans are in a lot of trouble. You've got the president nominating Merrick Garland to be Supreme Court justice. And now you're wondering, should we just take what it is that Obama is trying to give us, or do we move along and like, do we take what Obama's giving us, or do we risk the fact that Hillary might become president and literally nominate somebody even further to the left and even further away from what we believe? Because those are your two options. And I don't know what the decision's going to be on that one, but that's where you're caught. And then now you're caught with, do we support Donald Trump? Well, no, we don't, because he's kind of a kook. Okay. And then we don't support Ted Cruz either, because inside the party, he's selfish. He goes against the party for himself. He grandstands. He wastes everybody's time. He spends 21 hours in the Senate, okay, filibustering something that cannot be filibustered while he reads Green Eggs and Ham. Okay. This is the guy that we've got. So the whole setup there, I set that up way too long and left pretty much no time for discussion. The discussion being, who in sports is as disliked by their own as Donald Trump and Ted Cruz? Who in sports is as disliked by their own group of people as those two guys? Because the Republican establishment is like, man, these are the guys we have to choose between. And then you end up rolling with Trump. And now you're like, really? But that was going to be your reaction regardless of which guy. And the list that I've come up with here is a little bit of an interesting list. I don't know exactly where it all applies, because what counts as your own, right? I've got Aaron Rodgers on the list because teammates of his have found him difficult to work with and difficult to play with. They think his arrogance is off-putting. Aaron Rodgers does strike me as a guy who could possibly be arrogant. Don't want to speculate there. Really don't know Aaron Rodgers at all. But to me, if you've got an arrogant quarterback, that can't be the worst thing that ever happened to you. He's still got to throw you the ball. Like, he can't throw it to himself. You know, you've got offensive linemen. He can't block himself. On running plays, he can't hand the ball off to himself. Having an arrogant quarterback really doesn't do anything, right? People think Brady is arrogant. No, Peyton was arrogant. It doesn't affect anything. I don't know. The Republican establishment doesn't just hate these guys because they're arrogant. They actually think that they're not suitable for the job that they're running for. It's different, right? So I moved down the list and went to Dan Snyder. I think Dan Snyder might actually be the perfect person on this list. Dan Snyder, owner of the Washington Redskins, up until recently, Dan Snyder has backed away from all the stuff. But before, Dan Snyder was out in these streets acting like he was a GM, making personnel decisions, looking for any trade, any big free agency signing to try and push the Redskins over the top, make them look brilliant and fantastic, and failing miserably as he tried to do so. And it was all about Dan Snyder and all about Dan Snyder proving that he could do this thing. Redskins fans hated him. Redskins fans still hate him, okay? When the Redskins win a Super Bowl, then all will be forgiven. I'm a Redskins fan. I don't like the guy either. I think he's done a good job of backing up. I think he's learned his lessons, though. So I'm starting to let go. But he's a guy that, like, nobody, as far as the fans, like him. Inside the organization, I hear that Dan Snyder's actually really a nice guy as a person, even though he's petty and tries to sue people for saying racist things when they didn't say racist things. That's a story. Look it up. Lane Kiffin is wonderful because Lane Kiffin is a guy that spent like no time in Tennessee at all. I want to talk about his time as Vols head coach because the moment Lane Kiffin showed up, something didn't feel right. Like, there was a little bit of hope, like, okay, maybe this guy's good enough to turn this around. But I was here when Lane Kiffin got fired, and I can say that about very few, or hired and fired, I guess. I can say that about very few stories revolving around the Vols because I moved so much growing up and all those things. So all of my Vols memories are like outside of here. But I was here for that one. And something didn't feel right about that Lane Kiffin hiring. And when he started running his mouth in a way that maybe was unbecoming and made the school look bad, people kind of got tired of his act. And when he started not backing up his talk, people really got tired of his act, and he was run out. And rightfully so. he said a lot of things and really didn't accomplish very much. And he said a lot of inflammatory things, offended a lot of other places. So there's a lot of hostility towards UT, and he kind of stirred the pot and then bounced, you know? So I can understand the universal dislike of Lane Kiffin. Athletic director didn't like him, obviously. You just got run, man. I mean, it's not like, it's just one of those things where it's just like, why did you even hire that guy in the first place? I'm telling you, something didn't feel right about Kiffin when they hired him. I don't want to pull one of those I had a feeling things on you, but like really though, it didn't feel right. Something felt off about the Lane Kiffin hiring from day one. You're listening to Clutch with Keon Rose here on AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio, trying to find people in sports who remind me of Donald Trump and Ted Cruz in as much as the Republican establishment does not like those guys. And, you know, like Donald Trump has done a really good job of getting supporters and getting people to follow him. That's something that could be applauded. And the establishment's like, yeah, no, we don't like you or anything that you stand for. NCAA Commissioner Mark Emmert. Mark Emmert is a guy. I don't know, because like all the Power 5 conferences basically don't need Mark Emmert to do a thing. So the issue here is if they really do dislike him, we'll find out one day in the startling lack of power that he will one day have. One day, the Power 5 conferences are like, yeah, we're going to roll off and do our own thing. And Mark Emmert is going to be hitting the trails looking for a job. He really doesn't have any power, and nobody in the media really likes him because he doesn't tell the truth, really. And the fans really don't like him. The players can't like him because the only thing standing between them and payment, actual payment, is Mark Emmert. What stood between us and having a college football playoff was Mark Emmert. And then we got a college football playoff, and it was awesome. Like, that's the thing. He stood in the way of a really cool thing for a very long time for reasons that he continually made up. So yeah, Mark Emmert, disliked by anyone connected to college sports, really. Roger Goodell is another one, but I hesitate to put him on the list. Due in large part because Roger Goodell may not be very well liked by football fans. Roger Goodell may not be very well liked by football players. But Roger Goodell's boss is the 32 owners of the National Football League. And they seem to like him a lot because every time they've got a chance to re-up on Roger Goodell, they do so. It's like, yeah, we'll take more of that. We'll have more of that, please. We'll have what we're already having. And so I hesitate to put him on the list. He's not really hated by his own. He has more in common with those NFL owners than he does with anybody else. So maybe he's not a great fit, particularly. James Dolan, the owner of the New York Knicks, continually beating his head against the wall, all the while playing terrible music with his band. I mean, like, I don't understand the guy. He refuses to hire someone who will really, really know basketball things. The Phil Jackson hire is weird. It's been weird all along. It continues to be weird, and nothing of progress is actually occurring, even as Phil Jackson tries to turn the 2016 New York Knicks into the mid-2000s Los Angeles Lakers. It's not happening, okay? You can try, but it's not working. And in NASCAR, Kurt and Kyle Busch, I think, are perfect fits for the Ted Cruz and Donald Trump analogy because nobody likes those guys. I like them, okay? I like Kyle Busch. I think he's cool. He's got a personality. He says crazy things. He acts crazy. He's unpredictable. I think that's great for NASCAR. NASCAR needs more crazy, and it currently doesn't have nearly enough. But other drivers don't like the Busch brothers. A lot of fans don't like him. Our NASCAR insider, Sam Blevins, definitely doesn't like him. The Bushes are pretty well disliked. That's it for Clutch with Keon Rose here on AM 1240 Hot News Talk Radio. Thank you for joining me today, giving me just a little slice of your time. Make sure to check us out on Facebook, where we currently stream every day on our Facebook page, Hot News Talk Radio. Remember, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. Stay clutch.
You give us 12 minutes and 40 seconds, we'll give you Chattanooga and the world.
Fox News Talk 1240. Shake, shake, shake it at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. The most delicious and unique milkshakes. How about this for delicious and different? Add freshly cooked bacon to any milkshake.
Is that even legal?
You bet your milkshake and booty it is. Chocolate caramel bacon shake. Coffee caramel shake. All hand blended. Shake, shake, shake it. Down at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Just about any flavor shake that you can imagine. And they are delicious. Get your shake, shake, shake on at Five Guys Burgers and Fries. Five Guys Burgers and Fries, located in Hickson at North Point. Gun Barrel at the Walmart Center. Downtown 4th and Broad. And in Cleveland at Keith and Stewart. Shake, shake, shake. Shake, shake, shake.
Do you feel better outside your home or business than in? Indoor air quality is important. Mildew, mold, smoke, water, and rodent damage are prime causes of poor indoor air quality. Ducts, Indoor Air Professionals, better known as Duct Busters, cleans HVAC systems using 127 definable Duct Busters steps. Let Mark Thompson address